Awakening in betrayal. The sterile scent of antiseptic stung my nose as I lay motionless in a stiff hospital bed, my body weakened from the emergency surgery I had just endured. The pain was a dull, ever-present throb, a cruel reminder of the infection that had nearly killed me. My gallbladder had been so severely inflamed that the doctor said if I'd waited any longer, it could have ruptured. Now I was tethered to 4 drips, a heart monitor, and a morphine pump. My world reduced to beeping machines and the slow, agonizing crawl of time. The physical pain was one thing, but emotionally, I was more fragile than I had been in years. Vulnerable. Dependent. Trapped in this hospital bed with no choice but to trust the people who visited me. My wife, Cindy, and my stepdaughter, Megan. I had built my life around them, sacrificed for them, worked myself to the bone to give them everything they needed. And in that drug-hazed state of recovery, my world shattered. I had been drifting in and out of restless sleep when I heard their voices. Cindy and Megan. Just on the other side of the thin hospital curtain. At first, I thought I was hallucinating. The painkillers made everything hazy. But as their words became clearer, so did the icy dread curling in my stomach. They were talking about my death. Only. Casually. Like it was a business discussion. The life insurance would set us up, Cindy said, her voice clipped and practical. We could finally get out of that cramped house. Maybe even take a trip somewhere nice. Megan's voice wavered at first but then settled into something almost accepting. Yeah, I wouldn't have to worry about college costs. It'd be easier. Easier. That word hit me like a sledgehammer. I'd been married to Cindy for 20 years, a milestone I had once worn with pride. I had stepped into Megan's life when she was just 2 years old, raised her as my own. I had worked late shifts at the factory, pulled extra hours, sacrificed so they could have stability. We weren't rich, but we had a home, food on the table, and a life I thought we all valued. And now they were discussing how much simpler things would be without me. I lay there, frozen, my body already weak from the surgery, but now it felt like I was hollowed out from the inside. Betrayal doesn't even begin to cover it. In the days that followed, I didn't confront them. Couldn't. I was still too weak, still too dependent on their visits, to bring me water, adjust my pillows, help me sit up when the pain was too much to bear. But their words gnawed at me, replaying over and over like a cursed mantra. I started seeing the past through a new lens. Cindy's sudden interest in my life insurance policy a few months back. The way she'd asked about the payout amount with just a little too much curiosity. The way Megan had grown distant lately. The eye rolls, the coldness I had written off as teenage mood swings. Had they been waiting for me to die all along? The thought kept me awake at night. The hospital's incessant beeping a grim soundtrack to my spiraling paranoia. When I was finally discharged, I didn't waste any time. I called my brother Owen, the one person in this world I knew I could trust. He showed up at my house the very next day, his broad frame filling the doorway. His face creased with concern as I spilled everything to him. "That's messed up, man," he said, shaking his head. "But we'll figure it out. You're not alone in this." Together we became detectives in my own life. Owen brought his laptop and we started digging. Cindy hadn't even bothered to clear her browser history. There it was, in black and white. Searches for life insurance payout timelines. Questions about complications after gallbladder surgery. Even real estate listings in neighborhoods we could never afford. Every discovery was another stab to the gut. But I couldn't stop. I needed to know how deep this went. With every piece of evidence, my resolve hardened. I wasn't going to let them profit from me. Not after this. I called my insurance agent and rewrote the policy. The payout would now go to a local charity I had always admired, with a trust set up for Megan's education, something she would only be able to access when she turned 25, long after Cindy could touch it. I also moved half of our savings into a separate account in my name alone. Cindy wouldn't get a dime of the nest egg I had built. Felt cold. Calculated. But so had their conversation. I planned the confrontation carefully. A week after I got home, I invited Cindy and Megan for a family dinner, pretending everything was normal. I cooked spaghetti, their favorite, letting the familiar scent of garlic and tomato sauce fill the kitchen. My hands shook as I stirred the pot, but I kept my face steady. We sat at the old oak table, the same one where we'd shared countless meals, and I let them eat. Let them talk. Let them believe everything was fine. Then, when their plates were half empty, I slid my phone across the table and pressed play. The recording crackled to life. Their voices unmistakable. Cindy's fork froze midair. Megan's face drained of color. What is this? Cindy stammered, eyes darting between me and the phone. You're spying on us now. I didn't have to spy, I said, my voice low but firm. You said it right in front of me. You thought I was too doped up to hear. Then I laid out the rest, the printed searches, the insurance details. All of it. You were planning to cash in on me. My own family. Megan burst into tears, stammering apologies. I didn't mean it, Dad. Swear. It was just talk. But Cindy doubled down. You're twisting this, she snapped, her voice rising. I was just venting. Imagining a better life. You're blowing this out of proportion. But the evidence was a wall she couldn't climb. The dinner ended with her storming out, Megan trailing behind, and me sitting alone at that battered old table. The silence was deafening, but it was also freeing. The divorce came next. I filed the very next day, armed with everything Owen and I had gathered. The judge didn't take kindly to Cindy's excuses, and the settlement reflected it. She walked away with almost nothing, just her clothes and a beat-up car. Megan stayed with her at first, but I left the door open, hoping she'd come around. The betrayal still stung, but she was young. Maybe time could mend us. I moved into a small apartment across town, a one-bedroom with bare walls and a quiet street outside. It wasn't much, but it was mine, and for the first time in years I slept through the night. No longer haunted by the weight of their schemes. Megan reached out a few months later, her voice trembling over the phone, apologizing again, admitting she'd been swept up in Cindy's bitterness. We started meeting for coffee, awkward at first, but slowly we began rebuilding something real. I wanted to believe in her regret, to salvage the bond we once had. Cindy, on the other hand, she didn't fare as well. Without my income, she had to get a job, her first in years. And from what I heard, she hated every minute of it. She left me bitter voicemails about how I had ruined her life. I never answered. Some wounds don't heal. And I had learned to stop trying to fix what was irreparably broken. Looking back, that hospital stay didn't just save my life. It woke me up, cost me everything I had known. But it gave me something better. Myself.